Are you wasting your time on a bad driving instructor? Are you worried that you're going to end up with a driving instructor that is just bad? I hear this so many times again and again from other learner drivers who have come to me from other schools or on Reddit posts. It's not okay. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can tell that you're with a bad driving instructor so that you can save yourself the money and find another one. I'm also going to give you tips on how to spot obvious unprofessional behavior, but also more subtle signs that you might not know as a learner driver. And I'm going to tell you a bonus tip at the end on what you should do at the end of every lesson to make sure that is still the right driving instructor for you. So let's get into the video. The first point is unprofessional behavior. Not okay. So I get told this from learner drivers so many times. My driving instructor used to yell at me, or he shouted at me, she shouted at me. They made me feel bad for making mistakes. That is not okay. Driving instructors should not be yelling at you. Driving is hard enough as it is already. You're constantly tense, you're looking at everything, you're figuring things out. Every lesson can feel like you're stepping into uncharted territory. The last thing you want is a driving instructor who's yelling at you. Because now, not only are you thinking about, I need to check my mirrors, I need to signal, but you're also thinking, I wonder when he's gonna, or she is gonna shout at me in my next lesson. Or are they gonna just, hit me with some sarcastic comment? That's not okay either. So shouting can be a problem because it can affect your ability to learn to drive in a comfortable way. But that's not the only unprofessional behavior. The next one is this. Bingo. This. Not okay. As a driver or learner driver, you are not allowed to be on your phone whilst driving. Then why is it that I hear so many times about driving instructors being on their phone whilst teaching learners to drive? I heard one story about a driving instructor being on Facebook Marketplace or scrolling. You are paying the instructor your hard-earned money to learn to drive. They should not be on their phone because then they are robbing you of your time and your respect. And I'm going to put that in the unprofessional category. Cancellations. Driving instructors should not be cancelling driving lessons regularly. And if you see that there's a pattern with their cancellation, e.g., 3 lessons in a row have been cancelled last minute and you have not been communicated that, again, that is problematic. I get it though. Sometimes driving instructors have responsibilities. They might have children, caring responsibilities, but they need to communicate that to you in advance if they need to cancel. Last minute cancellations, if there's a pattern to it, unprofessional behavior. Finishing lessons early or starting lessons late. Driving instructors should not be doing that because starting 10 minutes late and finishing 10 minutes early, that's 20 minutes every lesson. That's going to add up over time. Big no-no, unprofessional behavior, because they are again robbing you of your time over 10 to 20 lessons. That's going to mean that you do not progress at the rate that you could have if they didn't engage in that behavior. So, which unprofessional behavior do you resonate with? What have you heard about? What have you experienced as a learner driver? Let me know in the comments. But that's not all. As I said at the beginning of the video, there are more subtle signs of a bad driving instructor. And as a learner driver, you might not be aware of these signs. So let's get into it. So the first subtle sign is your driving instructor does not have a clear lesson plan with goals for you, the learner driver. In other words, you rock up to the driving lesson and you just start driving. And that's it. That's your driving lesson. You just drive, maybe do some town driving, but it almost feels like you're driving with a friend. That's not okay. You're paying a professional driving instructor. They should have a lesson plan for you that's tailored to you and some goals that they want you to achieve with their help. So if your driving instructor doesn't have a lesson plan and they don't have goals for you, I would put them in the subtle signs of a bad driving instructor category. The second thing is repeating the same mistakes. So if you just keep repeating mistakes over and over and over again and your driving instructor is not correcting those mistakes or not telling you the mistakes that you're committing in a considerate way, big no-no. Because how are you going to get better as a learner driver if you don't know what mistakes you're making? Again, over 10 to 20 lessons, that's going to add up. So again, that's a subtle sign of a bad driving instructor. Subtle sign number 3, your driving instructor doesn't explain why the mistake happens. For example, if you're not checking your mirrors, there are a million different reasons why you might not be checking your mirrors. Your driving instructor needs to understand, using their experience, why you're not checking your mirrors when you're driving, and figure out a way to help you to check your mirrors. That is what you're paying them for. For example, you might be a learner driver in a very busy town area and you might not be ready for that area. So you're just holding on for dear life, focusing, and you've got tunnel vision. Why would you check your mirrors? You're in survival mode. So that driving instructor should identify that and maybe take you to a more suitable area to build up your skill set so that you can eventually go to the town area and be able to check your mirrors. Or it might be that you need to learn to drive at a different time of day when it's not as busy. But if your driving instructor is not communicating to you why you're making mistakes, how are you going to improve? How are you going to get better? Over 10 to 30 hours, that lack of communication from them is going to have a compounding effect on your progression. So do not tolerate that. So what makes a good driving instructor? Patient. Driving is stressful. Learning to drive can be very stressful. I remember when I learned to drive, it wasn't easy. You are turning up to a lesson, you don't know what to expect, you're going into uncharted territory, you're going to make mistakes as part of the process. You want someone by your side who is patient, who has the patience to go over the mistakes with you in a clear way and to help you improve. No matter how many times you have to go back and do the thing, they are patient and they are wanting the best for you. The opposite of a shouty driving instructor. Clear. Your driving instructor needs to communicate things to you in a clear way. For example, when my learner drivers are making faults, I tend to say to them, this is what's happening, this is why it might be happening, and this is what they could do to make it better. And I try and involve them in that process. What, why, how? I use this framework because I want the learner driver to understand clearly the information I am conveying to them. If I just started jumbling mumbo jumbo at them, they probably wouldn't understand the what, the why, and the how of their driving mistake. So really important that your driving instructor communicates clearly. If they do, you're in good hands. And as the bare minimum, your driving instructor should do this one thing as the bare minimum. Ensure that you feel safe. If you get out of the car and you feel like at the end of your lesson you were put in risky situations, your driving instructor maybe took you to an area that wasn't suitable for you, or they were using the pedals and the controls too much and not telling you, that's not honest and that's not helping you. And that doesn't ensure your safety. Think about any other skill you learn, any other skill you're already good at. I guarantee you that you progressively learn the skill rather than just diving head first and just hoping for the best. So progression is good. And if you stayed around to the end of this video, I'm going to give you a bonus tip. If I was learning to drive now as a learner driver, at the end of every driving lesson, I would ask myself this question. Does my driving instructor make me feel safe by ensuring my safety? And do they treat me in a respectful, professional way? If your driving instructor does not do those two basic things, I'm sorry to tell you, but you might have a bad driving instructor on your hands. In which case, you should check out my video here where I detail how to find a good driving instructor. And you can check out my video here where I talk about what to do if you have a shouty driving instructor. So, if you found value in this video, give it a like, subscribe for the next video where I'm going to be doing more of similar content and driving related content. So stay tuned for that, and let me know in the comments how you're getting on with your driving. What experiences have you had with your driving instructor? It will be good to hear from you. And stay safe on the roads, keep learning, and stay curious.